It was the first day of the tourney. Many knights and warriors had flocked to King Robert's call for glory. Within the main seating box sat King Robert Baratheon and his family, his wife Cersei and their children Joffrey, Marcella, and young Tommen. Next to them were the Hand of the King, Ned Stark and his daughters Sansa and Arya, along with a host of lords, including Renly Baratheon, the king's youngest brother, Lord Peter Baelish, and the king's master of whispers, Lord Varys. A handful of other nobles and guards sat and watched as many gathered to witness the action-packed spectacle. Many knights were in attendance, such as Lord Beric Dondarrion, the Mountain, the Knight of Flowers Lord Tyrell, and others. Though many were full of excitement, there was one who felt very nervous and scared. A young blacksmith had saved enough money from his time working to build himself a cheap suit of armor and was now about to engage in his first tourney. Gendry Waters was his name. A bastard of no great birth, who had grown up in Flea Bottom, was now about to take a massive leap of faith that would either end in his death or bring him fame and fortune. His armor was crude, being a simple chest plate over his padded sleeve shirt and padded flaps to cover his thighs. His sword was a freshly forged Sparta he had made for himself, along with his welding hammer instead of a dagger. Lastly, he carried a makeshift kite shield he had put together for himself. He eagerly waited as the first round of the tourney was about to be underway. It would be a series of jousts. Luckily, though, for Gendry, he would not be immediately going against the Mountain or Loras Tyrell. His first opponent would be an anointed knight named Cedric Payne. As the time came for his turn, Gendry mounted his sumpter horse. He had hardly rode much in the city, but had been practicing when he could for the past month, and was finally becoming comfortable with the idea of riding. Yet, as the time now came, he wished he had more time for practice. Littlefinger sat next to the girls, commenting to them the various knights and lords that appeared for their chance at glory. Yet everyone was stumped as Gendry rode out on the field in his crude armor and shifty steed. Many would snicker as the young lad reached his end of the jousting lane. The girls would ask who he was, and many would be left with no information. Yet it would be Varys to speak up for the others to hear, claiming that from what his little birds told him, the young man who prepares to face off against Sir Payne is a young blacksmith's apprentice named Gendry, an orphan boy who wants to desperately become a knight. Everyone was intrigued by his story, but seeing him out there was little confidence in his survival. Cersei would comment that at least as an orphan, there wouldn't be any parents to mourn him. King Robert himself commented about the amusement he's about to witness. Sir Payne, covered head to toe in armor, would arrive at his starting point, and both would lower their jousting lances. With a wave of a flag and the blow of a horn, the two would begin their galloping towards each other. Each trot and step, they moved faster and faster towards each other. The world seemed to slow for Gendry as he braced himself for the impact. Then, with a great miracle, as Gendry felt the impact of Sir Payne's lance strike his side, he felt his lance strike true as well. In a shocking turn of events, the two dismounted each other from their horses. The blow knocked the wind out of Gendry, as it took him a moment to gather his senses. Arya would question what happens next, seeing the dumbfounded look on everyone's faces. Even warriors like the Hound and Jaime were confused that a random nobody just dehorsed a well-known and renowned knight of the Crown Lands. The only true person to show any excitement was Robert himself. Littlefinger would then tell Arya that the two would now have to duel each other. Sir Payne would draw his sword and reclaim his shield from the ground, pacing towards Gendry, who was still stunned from his fall. Seeing Gendry not stand, the girls cheered him on to rise up as the crowd roared with excitement. Gendry slowly raised himself to his feet, still trying to discern what was being said. Seeing the Stark girls cheer him on, and point, he would look to see Sir Payne swing at him with his blade just in time to avoid the attack. He had not even gotten his shield back off the ground by the time his opponent arrived. Stepping side to side, he avoided swings, drawing his own sword in retaliation. The two would go back and forth, slashing at each other, but their armor and shields, the two of them, had caused little damage, but it was very apparent Gendry was out of his league. Continually being pushed back, many laughed at the disparage of skill between the two, all except King Robert, who screamed at Gendry to fight back already. With Gendry's sword being knocked from his hand, Gendry would charge forward and grapple his opponent. In a stunning display of strength, Gendry in quick desperation would lift Sir Payne into the air and slam him into the ground. As Gendry would climb on top of him in order to get him to yield, Sir Payne would draw his dagger and stab Gendry's hip through his armor. In just a few quick movements, Gendry would wrestle Sir Payne's arms over and pull out his smithing hammer. He would swing down, hoping to stun Payne, yet Sir Payne would knock his arms and Gendry would miss his mark on the helm and hit Sir Payne's neck instead of his helmet. Gendry would quickly jump off, noticing what he had done, and would watch as his opponent jittered for a few minutes on the ground before finally lying still. Sir Payne had passed, having suffocated from a collapsed throat. While the crowd cheered at Gendry's victory, he himself was in shock. The tourney would end later on that day, after the final bout between Loras Tyrell and Gregor Clegane. Loras would dismount the mountain, and in turn, the mountain would show great poor sportsmanship as he beheaded his horse and fought his brother. Gendry would sit, staring at his helm, still processing all that happened. Seeing the body of Sir Payne being carried away by his squire, a young lad just a few years younger than Gendry, named Podrick. Voices would then be heard approaching, and Gendry would be stunned to see King Robert and his entourage approach him. Boisterous and with glee, Robert would congratulate Gendry on his victory, commenting about his use of the hammer in the fight. Gendry would thank him for his praise before King Robert would leave him, suggesting he has a promising future one day as a knight. Walking past him, the rest of the small council and Kingsguard. Lastly, next to Jory, Sansa herself would stop to congratulate Gendry, claiming she was happy for him to have lived his bout. Gendry would thank her for the kindness, as Jory would inform him that if he so wishes to continue down this path of becoming a knight, then the hand of the king, Lord Eddard Stark, has invited him to the Red Keep, where he shall report for service. Surprised but happy with the news, Gendry would accept the offer and letter, almost entirely forgetting the day itself. Though as night would fall, he would remember the moment over and over. Yet with the morning rising, he felt a change within himself. It would take some time to gather his things and leave the shop he worked at, but Gendry would finally take the clothes on his back and make his way towards the Red Keep. With his victory at the tourney, and having taken his first life, gone was the blacksmith. He was a fighter, and soon a true knight of Westeros. Oddly enough, the first person he would run into before meeting with Jory would be the beautiful Queen Cersei. She made small talk with him, learning about how he was summoned to serve under Lord Stark's captain. She asked about where he comes from, hearing that he remembers nothing about his parents, only that his mother died when he was just a baby, only remembering she had hair much like Cersei's. The queen herself would gaze upon Gendry for a moment, as if seeing a ghost stand in front of her, before politely excusing herself. It was an awkward moment for Gendry, but as he continued on, he would finally meet with Jory and begin his proper training to become a knight of Westeros. And that is going to be the end of the story for today, guys. If you like the story, go ahead and leave a like, comment, and subscribe. So pretty much this is just a Gendry prequel setup to my Sansa Stark fanfic that I'm going to start releasing soon. I have decided to go ahead and split it into, so far it's just 2 parts. Each one's probably going to be around 30-40 minutes or so, much like the Jon Snow fic. But yeah, I'm really excited to kind of just bring it to you guys and share it with you. As you can probably tell with this prequel, it sets up the idea of Gendry becoming a knight very early on in the story, after winning a tourney, or at least winning his bout in a tourney, and earning enough respect that he's summoned by Robert and Ned and all that stuff to begin squiring and working on becoming a knight. And so yeah, just really happy to get it going and bring it to you guys. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, and probably within the next day or so of the release of this video, you will have the Theon Greyjoy interlude of the Jon Snow fanfic. So yeah, keep an eye out for that one. Again, appreciate you all. Deuces.